Hello everybody and welcome to this week's sensory activities. They're all based on geometry. So we're going to be doing some sponge painting, some snowflake sun catchers. We're going to make some triangle and square mandalas. We're going to make geometry flowers, push pin geoboards, and then I'm going to show you some shape, movement, and target activities for gross motor, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. The sponge shape painting. Here's what you need for that project. You're going to need your tempera paints. You're going to need a sponge, a toilet paper roll, a paper plate to put your different colored tempera blobs on, like a little palette, and then a piece of construction paper. So basically the first part is you're going to be taking your sponge and you're going to be cutting it into some shapes. So you'll start by cutting the sponge in half lengthwise like this. And then now you can make squares by just cutting. There's a nice square sponge. And you can make triangle shapes by making an angle cut. See that? You could even try making a parallelogram or a rhombus shape like this if you wanted. Okay, so you're cutting your sponge and then you have your palette and you have your toilet paper roll. So the toilet paper roll is the circle. So let's see if we can make some circles on our construction paper. Okay, they could do another color on the other side if they wanted more circles. And then you've got your sponges and you can make your squares like that, and you can make some different colored triangles on there. All right. So these are better when they're a little bit moist. If they're dry, they're not quite as nice and spongy and easy to use. So if it's really dry, just wet it a little bit, wring it out, and then it'll be a little bit more fluffy and ready to absorb the paint. And they're going to be making a picture with their squares and circles and triangles, okay? So have fun with that. The next thing they're going to learn to do is making the snowflake sun catchers. So here are the things they're going to need for that. They're going to need some coffee filters. They're going to need their muffin tin liners, a cookie sheet, and some of their gems, okay, and a pair of scissors, and then the markers, and your spray bottle, okay? So here's what you're going to do for this. So what you're going to do is you're going to be making this beautiful sun catcher that you can put in the window and brings the light out into the room. It's beautiful, all the colors. So here's the way that they're going to do that, okay? The first thing you're going to do is they're going to just take their coffee filter, your blank coffee filter, and you're going to trace the circle around the middle. There's a circle around the middle at the fold of the coffee filter. So you're making a circle there. You're going to make two other circles, one around that one and one around that one. Doesn't have to be perfect at all, but they're practicing making circles. Then what they're going to do is they're just going to use not too much of this ink. So I'll show you. See, I'm going to put some blue here. And then I'm going to be choosing some colors for the circles on the outside, and it's going to end up looking kind of like a tie-dye. So they're not gonna use a solid amount of, they're not using a solid amount of ink. They're just putting some ink from their pen in the concentric circles. And what's gonna happen is when they spray it with the spray bottle and get it really wet, all those ink colors are gonna blend together. Let's just do another color just to give you the idea. Just adding some ink. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. Okay, and they're going to do that to the outside one as well. So it looks a little bit like this. Okay, and then they're going to put it on their cookie sheet and they're going to spray it. Actually, you can just hold it over the cookie sheet like this. And you're going to spray it with your spray bottle. Get it nice and wet. Cover it all up. Make sure it's all really nice and wet. And then they're going to put it down to dry on the cookie sheet. All right? So that is the first step. So that dries, and when it dries, it's going to look something like this. Okay? So here's what they do the next day. When it's dry, you're going to do this. You're going to fold it in half. You're going to fold it again. So it looks like this now. And then you're going to fold it again. And then you're going to fold it one more time. Like this. So it looks like that. And then you're going to start putting some cuts. So I'm going to put one cut on the end like that. And then I'm going to make some triangle cuts. Just like this. Making some triangle cuts on this edge. See that? And then you're going to make some triangle cuts on the other edge. So, and then I'm going to put a couple triangle cuts on this side too. And then keep going with your triangle cuts along the edges. And then when you open it up, it's going to be this beautiful sun catcher. Like that, see? So then they can decide if they want to put this on a piece of construction paper. They can glue it with their school glue or their glue sticks. And they can add with this glue, they can add some gems to it if they want to make it really fancy. They can put a few little gems on it. Okay, and they can glue that with this glue. And then they come up with their beautiful sun catcher, okay? And then what they can do too is they can add another sun catcher and put it on top. And the way you do this one is sort of the same way. You're going to take your muffin tin, your little muffin tin liner, like this. Got one of those. And you're going to just do the same thing that you did with the coffee filter. You're going to flatten it out first, and then you're going to fold it in half. And you're going to fold it again. And you're going to fold it again. Okay? And you can even fold it one more time if you want. And then you're going to make some cuts. I think I'm going to keep mine about this fold so it's a little easier to cut. And you're going to cut some teeny little triangles out of there. And do it on the other side and around the edges. And they're making these little triangle cuts. And when you open it up, it's a little beautiful rainbow sun catcher. So you can put these up individually all over the window like this. You can put them one on top of another to make it even more fancy with your school glue or your glue stick. put them together. You can even add some gems to it to make it even fancier if you want. Okay, so this is our sun catcher project, okay? Now, here's what we're going to do next. We're going to look at the triangle and square mandalas project. So this is another one where we are taking our coffee filter. Okay, you're going to have a coffee filter and you're going to be making this for starters, okay? So it's going to be a 2-day project as well. So for this one, you're going to fold it and you're going to be making these folds and you're going to fold it again. So it's like that. And then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to flatten this side with the scissors so it's much more less rounded and more flat. Like that. You see that? And then when you open it up, you have a bunch of triangles. So you can use a piece of paper or a cookie sheet and you're putting it down and they're going to be using their black pen to trace those lines to make the triangles like this. They're tracing the fold that we did at first and then the next fold and the next fold and the next fold. And now they have some triangles to color in with their marker, right? They're going to color them in and I want them to be a little bit more solid with these ones. You're going to color it in rainbow, whatever colors you want to do. So it's all colored in. And then you're going to do that same thing so it's all colored in like this. Then you're going to do the same thing where you do the squirt bottle and you squirt it really good so it's all wet. And then you're going to let it dry on your cookie sheet for the night. And then the next day, what you're going to do with this one is you're going to put it on a piece of newspaper and you're going to be gluing some other things on top of this. You're going to be gluing some popsicle sticks on this and some toothpicks on this. So you're going to use your Elmer's school glue and you're going to be making a line of glue on your dry colored triangle design. And you're putting a line of glue like this. And you're going to put another line of glue like this. Okay, like this. You're putting the glue on the lines. And then you are adding your popsicle sticks. And it's going to look something like this. See that? So you're going to do that all the way around with the popsicle sticks. And then what you can do if you want is you can also add some detail with the toothpicks. And you might do this by putting a line of glue here on the edge and putting the toothpicks. Putting a line right here. And then I'm putting my toothpick there. See that? So they're adding some more of the designs with the toothpicks and the glue and the popsicle sticks. And then they can, if they want, they can add some of the little gems to make it fancy if they want. If they want to add some of these on there, they can. And that is their triangle mandala, all right? So that is that one. When you're going to be making your square mandala, you're going to be taking a coffee filter. You're going to be folding it in half just once. and then just one more time. Okay, so it's like this for your square mandala shape. Now you're going to be cutting the way you did with the triangle, but you're going to be making a line from straight line from this corner to this corner. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you're going to cut a straight line. Actually, the best thing to do is to make a fold like this. And then when you unfold it, you're going to cut so that this edge is straight. Right? Okay. And then when you open it up, it's a square. All right. And so what you're going to do now with this one is you're going to actually do the folds the other way, like this. And then you're going to put some dark lines right here like this. So you've got your square mandala. And you've got your square with the 4 squares inside. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to choose some colors for your squares. And then you're going to color them all in. You're going to use your spray bottle to make it nice and wet. Let it dry overnight. And in the morning, you can finish it by putting some more different things on top of this. So you could do some popsicle sticks going this way. You can make another square. Or you could do something like this and make another square. Squares on top of squares. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if I can. Sort of like that. Right? And they can glue those down with the Elmer's glue. They're making a line. And they're putting the popsicle sticks on top. And they can also be challenged to use the toothpicks to add to the design. Okay, however they want to use these toothpicks and popsicle sticks on our square mandala and our triangle mandala. So when you're done with that, you've got a beautiful square mandala. Okay? And these can go in the window too because they're just so beautiful. I love the effect of using just the regular Crayola markers and the spray bottle and the these coffee filters. It's just the perfect thing to make this really beautiful. It almost looks like it's been painted like watercolor. So that is that one. Going back to the sun catcher that we started with, let's look at it now. Now that the colors are all blending together, you can see how you only needed a little bit of those colors, and then it really filled in once you did the water on there. Okay, so that's looking really good. You're gonna let those dry, and you're gonna do the next steps. Okay, and then you have your triangle and square mandalas. All right, so now we're gonna do our geometry flowers. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm gonna move some of this stuff out of the way so we can get to our geometry flowers. So here's what you're gonna need for this. You're going to need your shapes. You're gonna need your shapes. You're gonna need the square shape, and you're gonna need the triangle shape. And you are tracing and coloring in. You need a piece of printer paper, and you're going to trace the shape onto a piece of printer paper so that you have some colored squares. Okay? You're also going to make 2 more colored squares of a different color. And here's what you do with your markers. Let's see. Make my And these are just, you know, again, like this is a cutting and coloring exercise, but it doesn't need to be perfect. So they have made their squares. And they're going to cut. They're going to cut their squares. After they've traced them with the shapes, they're going to color them in and they're going to cut them out. And you've got your two bigger size squares and you've got your two smaller squares. And when you put one on top of another, you can make a really neat geometric pattern. So let's see how it looks. So you put one down and then you put one in an alternating way. So you have this, okay? And then they're gonna cut out the smaller ones and they're gonna put those ones on top. And I'll show you how your square flower ends up looking. And then you can just use your glue stick or a little bit of the Elmer's glue to glue these on, and it ends up looking something like this. You're going to put the point in the spot like that. So you have like a flower image, okay? You do the same thing with the triangle shape. You put your triangle here, you trace it. You color it in, and then you make two bigger size triangles like this, and you color them in, and then it's going to start like this, like a Star of David kind of thing, and then you're going to put the smaller triangles on, and then you have a triangle flower. Now you can use the glue sticks for this, would work really well. And you can put them on a piece of construction paper. You can put some little stems down here if you wanted, or they can just be a design. And those are our nifty little geometry flowers, okay? Tracing, coloring, cutting, and then layering. Good stuff, okay. Let's see, the next thing I wanted to show you guys was the geoboards with the push pins. Let me get that stuff out here. So everybody got some push pins. They're a little sharp, so make sure that you're supervising your child when they have the push pins out, because they're a little pointy. But what they can do, there's a couple different things they can do with an egg carton. So they can do a counting activity with the egg carton, where you have 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put 4 on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's something very satisfying about pushing these in. Or you can also make a little mini geoboard of your own. You can make designs, so you can put your push pins in on the lid of the egg carton. And you can put in a bunch of push pins, and then you can use your rubber bands to make designs. See how I did that? Little geoboard, all right? Their own little geoboard. One last thing that I wanted to show you before I do the more gross motor activities is this last one, where you just take some of your clay or the modeling clay and you're just gonna flatten it out. You could use a rolling pin, or you can just flatten it out, and you're gonna practice pushing in some shapes with your lollipop sticks, okay? So you can make a triangle by pushing it in. Triangle. See that? you can press down a nice big mat of the Play-Doh or the modeling clay that I gave you. Should look something like this. And press it down really good, and then they can use their lollipop sticks to create patterns. And so you can do this sort of the same thing that we did with the flowers. I'm going to do this. Made a triangle going one way, and then I made a triangle going the other way. And then I have this nice imprint. Okay, cool, right? All right, the last thing we're going to do with the geometry sensory activities is, let's see, I'm going to turn you over this way. So you are looking down at the floor mostly. So you're going to take your skewers, you're going to take your yardstick number line, you've got your skewers, you've got your masking tape, and you have one of these little throwing balls. I put 2 or 3 in everyone's kits, okay? These are perfect for target practice. So we're going to be practicing doing our shapes. You can use 3 of these and put them down like this. Make your shape. Okay, I'm making my shape. Can you see that? Okay, there's my triangle, and then I'm going to take my masking tape and I'm going to make a line next to it. I'm going to make a line right there with my masking tape. Then I'm going to follow the next line. That's 2 sides of my triangle. I'm doing this on the hardwood floor or in the kitchen, some hard floor. Actually, you could do it on the rug too, actually, so that'd be fine. So you are making some big shapes on the floor with the masking tape, okay? So then you make a square or a rectangle here. And then what they're going to do is they're going to make these nice big shapes, and they're going to practice throwing into the shape with their ball for target practice. They can start back here, and they can try rolling it, trying to get it into various shapes. So I'm rolling it. Oh, I rolled too hard. Let's see. Anyway, so you can roll it and have it go into the shapes if you want. You can also put a few on the floor, and you can jump from one to another. You have to reach over here to get to the other triangle if you're just going and following the triangles. So you can use the skewers to guide you in making these shapes. You can also use your yardstick number line for that. If I wanted to make a really big shape, I could follow a nice straight line here, and I could make a really big triangle like that. Okay, so challenge them to make some triangles, various 4-sided shapes, some 5-sided shapes, and then you can do some target practice with them or rolling to try to get them to land on one of the shapes. And you can do like a jumping game so that they're jumping on the different shapes. So that would be good for their vestibular and proprioceptive input for the day. All right, that's it. So good luck with everything. Bye.